watching on the AFA channel, you get a chance to see this for yourself. But the middle of that Brooklyn Bridge, which was the first suspended cable bridge in American history, in the world, the history of the world, to use cables to suspend them and to build bridges, is getting a facelift. So here we are in New York today. Kevin McCullough from the Normal Studios of AFA Today, and really grateful that you're with us. 888-589-8840. And for those of you that are listening by way of radio and you want to see what I'm talking about, go to afr.net and pull up the archives of AFA Today, or go to afatoday.com, because within an hour or two of the broadcast being completed, our dear producer, Mr. Brent, will have the entire show uploaded in a few different segments, and it's easier to witness it that way. But a beautiful day in New York, and I'm grateful that you're with us each day. I'm grateful that you make it a priority to push yourself to think more clearly in a day that's increasingly invested in keeping you confused. This is what God called me to do, to just help bring clarity to the world around us. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to partner with AFA Today every day and to spend this time with you. Let's go back to the phones. What we're talking about is America's Academy of Pediatrics. They have decided that doctors in the world of pediatricianness need to signify their support for same-sex relationships by flooding their waiting rooms with literature that has very pro-homosexual behavior content in it. And I'm taking your calls, a reaction to that. This is your child's pediatrician that will be impacted by this. And I'm surprised. Well, we have, I think, one woman on the phone, but I'm surprised that not more moms have called up, to be candid with you so far. Let's talk to James in North Carolina. James, you're next on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Hi.
Well, thank you very much. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you being here.
Okay. Some years ago, some homosexual activists come out with this, what you call a rainbow curriculum, where they first started talking about introducing homosexuality to little kids in school. Okay, and now you see it happening. But let me tell you, all they want to do is recruit and seduce. And now the medical industrial complex, who owns the entire medical system, those people, what they're doing, they're going to try to push it through the pediatrics, to give it to little kids and introduce it to them. And see, because their minds are very young and susceptible. And
James, they're going one step further. They're going one step further than that, too, and thank you for the call. They're going one step further in that they are signifying to the doctors that are running these pediatric practices that if you don't take the literature, you're not being a team player. My guess is doctors that out of conscience say, I would prefer not to have that literature in my office. I just want to be a good doctor to all the kids that come in. I don't want to get involved in an agenda. My sense is that those doctors are going to be they're going to experience some maltreatment by those that are in this game. Let's see what Susan in Ohio has to say. Hi, Susan. Welcome to AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well.
My question is, with these pediatricians and them trying to put these guidelines on them, as a mom, my daughter's 14. I've just got her in there recently. They're not going to be asking about their boyfriends or their girlfriends. That puts our kids in a whole new risk as far as if they are having this homosexuality behavior, there's further testing that might need to be done on these children.
In regards to what? I'm not following what you're saying.
In regards to if they have acted out on the homosexual behaviors, there's chance for.
In other words, if someone's son has been sexually active with another boy.
Right.
Right.
And these pediatricians aren't going to be allowed to question anything or, say, are you dating a boy or a girl? That's putting even more risk on our children.
Well, and what you're saying, Susan, is actually quite true. And if people know their statistics, thank you for the call. If people know their statistics about how homosexual behavior, the impact it has on children, the more that children are sexualized, particularly young males, in homosexual sexual activity when they are quite young, their rate of depression and attempts at suicide skyrocket. I mean, it's like 800% more likely to become depressed and about 600% more likely to attempt suicide before age 21. It's crazy that we would take this politically correct political activism and embody it in medical brochures into a pediatrician's office. It doesn't make any sense. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Timothy in North Carolina. You're up next, Timothy, on AFA Today. Welcome. Timothy in North Carolina, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Timothy. One last chance. Are you there?
Hello, hello.
Hi. Timothy.
Hello.
I heard you say hello. Yes, hello. Hello? All right. Timothy, you're going to have to try to call back. Sorry about that. Just couldn't get you to come through. Levi in Michigan, welcome. You're on with Calvin McCullough on AFA Today.
Hey, I just want to say I really appreciate the program and everything you're doing. I'm a father. I'm trying to raise 2 teenage daughters. And, you know, the Bible says that in the last days, I mean, we can't predict the last days, but, you know, it does say, you know, some things to look at. And one of the things it does mention is that in the last days, the wisdom of man would be foolishness to God. The wisdom of God would be foolishness to man. And it's just really sad to look at it as a parent and to see, you know, how they are taking all the role models that children look at and encouraging them to encourage children for, you know, dangerous, promiscuous behavior, things that, you know, are just, you know, whether you want to consider them right or wrong, let's just look at the concept of, you know, healthy versus unhealthy. You know, higher suicide rates, higher death rates, higher AIDS and disease rates, and yet they deliberately underplay all these things. Oh, no, it's perfectly safe alternative lifestyle. No, they're not safe. They're not alternative. You know, my kids just recently got out of school. You know, they're on summer break, and, you know, one of the last things the school they had was, you know, the big gay pride thing. And, I mean, they had it all decorated through school and everything else. And so it's not just pediatrics. It's every aspect of, you know, the role models that our kids, as they grow up, are looking to for their decisions. And it, you know, it does make it hard on a parent, especially a Christian parent.
Yeah.
And they really work hard to underplay, you know, the parent's role. And I guess I was just really encouraged by the what you said. You know, hey, faithfulness is the key. You know, you do the fight the best you can, but in the end, it is, you know, up to God to do it. And, you know, thanks a lot. That's all I want.
Well, Levi, I appreciate your encouragement. Let me add one other thing to that. Be as faithful as you can in the days that we're in, and pray on your knees like you want God to come today. I mean, I think prayer and faithfulness are the only two therapeutic mechanisms that Christians have in the modern world. And it's the only thing that we can turn to and say, Lord, you know, please. And I hope that that's what people are encouraged to do today. Lost Levi. Okay, thank you for your call, Levi. I appreciate it. Let's go to Vernon in Mississippi. Vernon, welcome. You're on with Calvin McCullough on AFA Today. Hi.
To Vernon.
All right, Vernon's listening on his radio. We asked him to listen on his phone. Vernon, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hi,
And,
welcome.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say it's you know, it's a crying shame that the people of this day and time have just turned to such a milkweed. I mean, it's weak. It's weak. You know, the Bible says we're supposed to protect the innocent. Kids can't protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to us to stand up and believe in the Word of God and to read the Bible and stuff. If Joshua and Caleb were here nowadays, if they were confronted with all this, they would strike them with the edge of the sword. And you know they would. And when Jesus comes back, that's what he's going to do. And people have done got to where they are just so weak and so cowardly, they need to stand up and be bold and courageous. And God says be humble, but he don't say be humble in the face of your enemies. And that's all I got to say, and I want to hear your comment on it. Thank
Vernon, I appreciate your passion. I'm not sure I'm understanding exactly who you're calling weak. Who are you upset with? Vernon? Oh, we lost him. Okay, you gotta help me because sometimes I got questions about where you're at. Let's talk to Rachel in Florida. Rachel, you're up next on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. So glad that you're with us.
Well, I was just wondering, is all pediatricians going to have the literature in their waiting rooms, or is it just like certain ones?
Well, I think it's interesting you asked that question because it's the American Academy of Pediatrics that's putting out this new set of guidelines. And so, the American Academy, that's kind of like the AMA to doctors. They're, it's the largest association. Almost every pediatrician in the country belongs to it. And my hunch is, I don't have any proof of this, but my hunch is that this has been accepted and kind of advised, and they're going to start sending the literature. And I think that the pediatricians are going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that, unless they really have a strong moral objection to it. And then they're going to have to explain why they don't. And I don't think that's going to go well for the ones that choose not to. I think that there's going to be pressure from this professional organization, the AAP. I think they're going to put pressure on the doctors that aren't playing along to try to make them do it. And I think it's going to be a little bit of persecution for doctors that try to. And sadly, I think a lot of doctors are just going to say, well, I don't really agree with it, but I don't want to lose my practice. I've got to feed my family. And they just put the literature out there, and they don't even pay any attention to it. I mean, I think it's such a strategic move by the activists to go this route, because they're going to meet not a lot of resistance, and the resistance that they do meet, they're probably going to be able to steamroll. And those handful of doctors that are going to take a stand for what's right and say, that's not where my waiting room shouldn't be where this issue gets argued. I'm here to treat sick children. They're going to be made to be the ones that are taken to court, that are persecuted, that are called names. They're going to be treated like bigots in the news. I mean, it's going to be really bad. These people are going to undergo a significant amount of pressure, I believe.
Well, I mean, I don't think little kids under certain ages should be seeing that literature in waiting rooms.
I don't want kids finding out about sex from any other source except me and the Lovely Bride. Me and the Lovely Bride have the right to teach our children about sex at the time and place that we feel it's appropriate for them to learn it. And my doctor and the school district and everybody else, keep your grubby mitts off. That's my business as a dad.
I agree. But will we have a choice to not go to the doctors no more?
Well, of course you can choose to not take your kids. You can always choose to not take your kids to a certain doctor. But what I would do, and that's a great question, Rachel. Let me just make a statement for everybody listening. What I would start to do even now, even today, is I would go to AFA Today, get the link to the story that I'm going to post as soon as the show's over. Then send that to your pediatrician. Email it to your pediatrician. Print it out and take it to your child's doctor and say, look, I like you as a doctor. I don't want this mess polluting your waiting room. The agenda of who's fighting for sexual rights and all this other, that doesn't need to be in your waiting room. This isn't why we bring our kids to you. I would start engaging your pediatricians now, so that they know if they do get pressure from their professional association, that there's a certain degree of backbone that they've got that they don't have to worry about, because you've already engaged them and you're going to pledge your support for them to do the right thing. I think it's a really smart thing to do, to start talking to your pediatrician now, and I would encourage you to do that. Let me see if I can get to Craig in North Carolina. Craig, welcome. You're on AFA Today with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Hey, Mr. Kevin. I just want to point out that I am against the pediatrician thing, but I heard you say something about, it's good to have a father figure, and I agree with that. But my mom was a single mother, and it wasn't by her choice. And I'm a soldier now. I fought for my country. I feel like I did pretty well. And I was raised by a single mother. But I've seen many of my friends be raised by a father, and it was in a relationship they didn't want. And some of them turned out to be drinking or abusive or anything like that. So my question is, do you think it's always good to have a father, to have, if a girl gets pregnant, for that man to marry her?
Well, I think that a man owning his responsibility is always the right thing to do. And I think that when I say owning his responsibilities, that means living morally. It means, yes, taking the responsibility to provide and protect for those children and for the woman that he made vulnerable through that. I think it's always the right thing to do to also not live as an abuser. So living morally is always the right thing to do for a father. And the more fathers who are living morally at home with their children and their wives, the more fathers that are in the home, the better the country does. If they're abusing while they're there, that's obviously not good. But the more moral fathers we have in homes, the better this